Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy, Matt from Diazable. What's good? If you're new, hey, welcome. If you're not, yeah, you know what's up. We're here to do album reviews, and today we're checking out the band Silent Planet with their album SUPERBLOOM. Now, this band comes out from California, Los Angeles to be specific. They've been around since I think like 2009, I think 2010. That's remember I remember seeing them in the early 2000s, 2010s. And I always remember seeing this band and seeing like their name and stuff and just listening to them a little bit here and there. I was like, never really was for me. Even though they play a style of metalcore that I usually like, metalcore and stuff. People call them like progressive metalcore and everything, but I don't know, they just never really hit home with me. I just felt like when people are like, we need to point to like generic bands that are in a genre, this is one of my examples growing up and everything. And so with me doing these album reviews, I wanted to go back and listen to Planet and see if I really did miss anything over these years and everything. So yeah, uh, let's get into it. The intro song here has like a heavy synth sound to it to create like a sense of uneasiness, which I think it does its job really well. But I think it should have been just combined with the opening track because it just feels like, I guess it's supposed to set up an atmosphere and everything, but I think it would have been fine if it was just part of the opening song. Lo-fi synths build up this song at the start, and then it goes into some really heavy metalcore sound, especially with how the bass is being played here. Guitars have a real genty feel to them and just sound okay. Bass is really heavy. Drums are kind of okay, but they get drowned out a bit, and the vocals could be turned up a bit, I think. And there's some really odd transitions with this song. More of a straightforward metal song with some like synthesizers in the background. The clean vocals have a lot of like, I guess, post-production effects on them and everything, and it makes it really hard to hear. Drums sound better than the previous song on here. Guitars are really tight. The fusion of this like synth and like metalcore style they're trying to do here is a cool idea, but I think it's poorly executed. So I'm gonna play a clip of Collider for you. Yeah, it's just okay. Interesting guitar riffs here and everything. Drums are layered pretty well. The clean vocals sound more natural here, but they're kind of buried in the mix a bit. And also the guitar riffs, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I've like heard them somewhere before. And overall, this song reminds me of Spirit Box in terms of like the heavy and clean parts and everything. But I will say the heavy parts are pretty heavy here. You got some really crunchy guitar riffs that kind of blaze the trail for this song. Very, very, very genty as the song goes along. And I believe like the clean vocals are deliberate for this atmosphere they're trying to like pull off here. And I guess it kind of goes well with this atmosphere they're building here. And there's some weird, messy riffs later in the song. I do like this song overall, but the very ending of this song, like, it's not that enjoyable. But I will say his vocals remind me of The Devil Wears Prada a bit. The fusion of that future synthesizer style and the metal is best used on this track, I think, because the guitars sound really good and crunchy, and the switch between the two styles is really like more fluid and natural here. Uh, I wasn't a big fan of this song originally when I did a reaction to it, but compared to the other songs in this whole album, this might be the best track, and I think it really like encompasses and encapsulates what they're trying to do here, and it sounds pretty good even with those like weird mosquito noises in the background that I was commenting when I made this reaction. So I would say this is their best track on the album. So here's a clip of Antimatter.
Aftermath. Broken promises collapsed. Bodies lay like shattered glass. Hold the pieces, feel how nothing ever lasts.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You got some like hard Amir-like riffs and drums at the beginning. Interesting synths in the background. There's a slow build up in this song for a big breakdown at the end. And overall, it's just kind of like, okay, it's not bad, it's not good, it's just here. Again, the riffs and everything, they just sound repeated and similar to other stuff I've heard, and I keep comparing it to Spirit Box. I don't know, it's that djenty style. It gets really old really fast here, I think. But as the song progresses, there's some more dynamic guitar playing in the middle of the song that sounds interesting. Got some cool techno beats over it and everything. But yeah, again, just got a really cool and chill bass line that leads the song at the start. But his vocals in this song are really hard to hear. But when the song really kicks in, it has some really good bite to it. And I would say the second part of this song is a bit more generic and bland, but the overall song structure is pretty interesting. So I'm gonna play a clip of The Overgrowth for you. Not too bad, right? The guitars are layered lower in the mix here and they have a nice mesmerizing sound to it. The cleans are mixed in better here with his vocals. They can be really heard, and the breakdown is pretty trippy on this song. Transition from the last song to this song is pretty clean and everything, and it just nicely flows from song to song to make it a nice interlude. You got some like shoegazy style vocals on top of like metal playing here, so it makes a very interesting contrast. And the sound of this song really kind of matches the name of the song, Superbloom, I think. It has like a very, very large feel to it. The song's arrangement is really good. Drums are really snappy and clear here, and the little synths and like notes that they play from the synthesizer and everything add a lot to the song. And the pacing is really good on this particular song. The album might be called Superbloom, but I would just call it kind of like okay Bloom, I guess, because nothing on this particular album from Silent Planet really stands out and sticks out to me. It's just kind of almost middle of the ground in terms of just being okay for most of the time, especially in the first half of the album. The second half of the album is a little bit more interesting. But one thing that makes me feel like it's not that interesting is a lot of the riffs seem really like familiar. Like I've heard them somewhere else. They've been recycled. Like nothing really new is being brought here, but it feels like they're trying to do something dynamically different and everything. But a lot of the riffs and sounds kind of sound familiar with other proggy and djenty style bands and metalcore bands in general. And that's my biggest issue with Silent Planet. They were never, I guess I had heard other bands before them, so when they came out, I just compared them to other bands because they just were too late in the game for me. So they had too much of a similar sound to other bands, and I kept comparing them to other bands, and I still feel like I do that here with how they sound like Spirit Box to me, but just a little bit more of a blander version. But I will say that even though the guitars are a bit repetitive and similar, the drums are like okay. If the cymbals were turned up a bit more, the vocals could be pretty good when you could hear them. They're pretty low in the mix, but minus those things here and there, the overall production on this album is pretty good with the fusion of the futuristic synthesizers and sounds they're trying to create here. At times, especially in the back end, the songs sound much better. The production sounds really good. So I would say overall, this isn't a terrible album. There's some stuff here that's pretty interesting to check out. Now, I don't know if it's like a repeat, like I want to listen to it immediately on repeat, or I'll come back to every once in a while, but it's just an okay album. Nothing too terrible or anything. It passes, I think, for being listenable. So I would say this album from Silent Planet, Superbloom, is a decent to solid 7 out of 10. Links down below. Tell me what you thought, how you feel about Silent Planet. I've always been kind of like about them. Don't hate them, don't love them, just they're there. And check out this video I got going on here. And until next time, bye.